I want to take a little time to go over some of the lessons that we are studying so I can, emphasize certain things, and it's not just papers to read. And so I'm going to start with and you don't need to read along with me because it really, I'm going to kind of break it up anyway and kind of try and convey what, only if you must, if you have to read along with me, it's fine. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm going to skip around, but I'm going to try and emphasize certain things that I want to put in front of us right now. And these are from, these first two lessons that I'm reading from are from the Githas on the subject of psychology, and in this instance, psychic power. And this first one is called Development of Power Through the Breath. And I'm going to just read a part of it. The secret is the breath that is purified and developed becomes a stream of nectar. In the first place, breath is life. And when its current is attached to the inner life, the life eternal, it becomes more radiant life, and it gives life to all mortals. The secret is the breath that is purified and developed becomes a stream of nectar. In the first place, breath is life, and when its current is attached to the inner life, the life eternal, it becomes a more radiant life, and it gives life to all mortals. So, we're breathing the all-pervading life in space, that power that is there, all-pervading in space, and then we're also, at the same time, trying to deeply draw from the source of it all, the life eternal, the absolute, ever-living being. And if we can connect our living breath to that reality through our inner sympathy for it and attunement with it and harmony with it in our soul, then we become a vehicle of tremendous power, a life force. It cures illness, because illness is caused by lack of life. It takes away depression, for it is light. When it has arisen, it takes away the clouds of depression. In the East, people seek the presence of a spiritual person, and often among them are such who never speak or teach or argue or discuss. They just are. They just breathe. They just bring their atmosphere. And that's all of us. We all bring our atmosphere. You don't have to look for some role to play to be, someone who's offering blessings and teachings and opportunity. It comes from this place. There are some who do not even utter a word of blessing, and yet their context gives life to the lifeless, takes away depressions and sorrows, clears away confusion, and heals all maladies, for it is life that they radiate, and those in contact with them are benefited. It is an evident phenomenon that needs no proof. The atmosphere that a spiritual person charges with their magnetism is the testimony of their power. People call it psychic power. And yet psychic power without spirituality is a lame power and a blind power. Psychic power without spirituality is a lame power and a blind power. When the psychic becomes spiritual, or when the spiritual person develops psychic power, they become the fountain of life, continually flowing in this mortal world. So if you're just trying to use the power of mind, through your concentration and will, it's going to be a lame force. just from the standpoint of force, compared to the one whose breath and whose intention and atmosphere is touching the ever-living, the one and only being. You know, so that makes it lame, and it's blind, because if you don't have your ego self out of the way in order to see clearly, you know, you're groping in the dark with your power. You know, you're not necessarily going to be able to accomplish anything that's meaningful. Now I'm going to go on, because he talks about this thing. You know, we don't. The development of different powers is called cities, or cities is what it's called. You know, and it's a two-edged sword, because it's very tempting. The use of power, the development of cities for power is very beautiful and beneficial when it's exercised in a way that is wise. And here's what Anand says about it. The use of psychic power is allowable to those who have insight into the law of nature. But without this knowledge, the use of psychic power would be most harmful. By psychic power, one can heal oneself and another. One can construct one's own affairs as well as the affairs of others. One can acquire riches and position. Also, one can destroy things. The difficulty is in this question: what is really beneficial? I got all this power, I can do all this stuff, but what am I going to choose that's going to truly be beneficial? For man's fancies in life change at every moment, and what at one moment he thinks good and attainable, at another moment he thinks useless. At one moment she thinks a certain thing profitable, and the same thing, after more reflection, begins to seem disadvantageous. For instance, by psychic power, a person attracts wealth, and perhaps that same wealth may have become harmful to his children. Or one desired a position and occupied it by psychic power and situated himself in a position where there was danger to life. One always sees this by deep study of life, that one gain causes a loss of a certain thing, and one loss brings about a gain of a certain kind. And this is the necessary thing in life. There would not be balance if it weren't so. The first thing that is desirable, or that which is most desirable in life, is wisdom. The next is power. As a foolish person would not be able to make good use of their wealth, so a person with psychic power without wisdom is apt to harm themselves with their own power rather than to do any good. Every atom in this world has its peculiar charm and attraction. I love that. Every atom in this world has its peculiar attraction and charm. And mankind, so attracted by things that seem for the moment attractive, whether power, wealth, position, or a friend, does not necessarily know the outcome of their attainment. The nature of power is to cover the eyes and hide from one's sight the true nature of the things that one wishes to attain. The nature of power is to cover the eyes and hide from one's sight the true nature of the things one wishes to attain. Well, because you're so caught up in that desire to achieve, and to, the power is intoxicating. What is it? Power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. That's given the ordinary condition of nafs. That's true. And so that's why spiritual schools, for the most part, don't begin by teaching techniques to develop powers, because the first thing is to develop character. And you have to have a character that you can trust to use power, you know. So when we get in this realm where you begin to really become more and more aware of the power that is a part of the human being in the breath and the faculties that we have, then, you know, it becomes important to really reflect on this, so that we can not have a lame power and a blind power, but rather one that is flowing with life eternal. The nature of power is to cover the eyes and hide from one's sight the true nature of the things he wishes to attain. When power leads and wisdom follows, the face of wisdom is veiled, and one stumbles. But when wisdom leads and power follows, then they arrive safely at their destination. When power leads and wisdom follows, the face of wisdom is veiled, and one stumbles. But when wisdom leads and power follows, then they arrive safely at their destination.